From the golden peaks of Meru, Maitreya looked south, to a land nestled between the eternal Himalayas and the vast southern seas. Parashara pointed a trembling finger and whispered, "Maitreya, in all the cosmos, this is the only place where a soul can truly choose its own destiny."
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. I'm your host, and I have to be honest, I've been staring at that opening passage for, well, the better part of an hour. It's incredibly dramatic, isn't it?
It is.
You've got this sage, Parashara, on a mythical peak pointing down at the earth with a trembling finger. I mean, it sets such a high-stakes tone right out of the gate. We aren't just looking at a map today.
Not at all.
We're looking at what the text claims is the spiritual center of the universe. So hello to you, listening right now. Whether you're on the tube, walking the dog, or just sitting with a cup of tea, try and picture that view, because today we are diving deep into the Second Amsha of the Vishnu Purana. It is a pleasure to be back. And you're quite right to pause on that image. It's meant to be arresting, really. We are continuing our exploration of the ancient texts, and while on the surface this might look like a lesson in archaic geography, it's actually, well, it's a profound treatise on the physics of karma. We're looking at the concept of
Bharatavarsha. Now, before we get too far, I think we need to clarify something for anyone listening who might be thinking, right, that's just the ancient Sanskrit name for India. Why are we spending all this time on a country's name? But looking at the source material you've brought, it suggests something, well, far more specific and, frankly, far more complex than just a line on a modern map.
Precisely. In the context of the Purana, Bharatavarsha isn't a nation state, it's a mechanism. It's a kind of spiritual containment field. Parashara describes it as the sacred gateway.
The sacred gateway.
And the tension that drives this whole chapter is a very specific, and I have to say, a somewhat radical question.
Yeah.
Why this land? Why does the text claim that this specific patch of earth is the only door to liberation in the entire cosmos?
It is a massive claim. The only door, not a door, the only one. It makes you wonder what's wrong with the rest of the universe, doesn't it?
It does.
But before we get into the metaphysics and this idea that the gods are jealous of us, which, by the way, I still need you to explain because that sounds completely backwards, let's ground this. What does the text actually look like when it describes this place? Is it a metaphor, or does he give us a map?
It's surprisingly geometric. Parashara provides a sort of Sanskrit coordinate system that would have been instantly recognizable to his audience. He defines the boundaries with this verse, Uttaram yat samudrasya himavadakshinam chayat,
which translates to?
The land that lies north of the ocean and south of the snowy mountains. Those snowy mountains, of course, being the Himavat.
Himavat. You know, it's lovely to hear the original pronunciation. It sounds more alive than just saying the Himalayas.
Well, it is treated as a living entity, yes.
Yeah.
A boundary wall separating the mundane from, the celestial. And within these boundaries, south of Himavat and north of the seas, you have what the text calls the Navadvipa.
Navadvipa. 9 islands, or 9 zones, essentially.
That's correct. The text breaks the land down into sectors. It mentions specific regions like Indradvipa, Kasruman, Tamarvarna, and Gandharva. Now, modern scholars spend a lifetime trying to map these exactly.
To current geography, I imagine.
Of course. But for our purposes, the takeaway is the structure. It's not just a flat plane. It's a complex, segmented organism. It implies a world that is diverse, vast, and capable of holding many different types of civilizations.
It sounds almost like a fantasy map from a high concept novel, doesn't it? Like looking at a map of Middle Earth, where every region has a specific character. But the text doesn't just stop at the borders. It seems almost obsessed with the spine of the mountains.
Yes, the Kula Parvatas.
Kula Parvatas. The translation I have here is family mountains. Now, I have to stop you there. Family mountains. That's a very odd way to describe a geological feature.
It is, isn't it?
Usually, mountains are rugged or imposing. Why family?
It's a beautiful term. Kula means family, clan, or lineage. The idea is that these mountain ranges are the patriarchs of the landscape. They're the family mountains because they're the parents of the rivers.
Ah, of course.
In the Puranic worldview, you simply cannot have civilization without fresh water. The mountains catch the rain, they hold the glaciers, and they birth the rivers. So the population living there isn't just on the land. They are the children of these mountains.
That is surprisingly touching. It implies a relationship. You aren't just an occupant, you're a descendant of the geography itself.
Exactly. It creates a sense of belonging and stewardship. And the text lists 7 of these ranges with great reverence. They are the pillars holding up the sky of Bharatavarsha.
I want to walk through these because the names clearly meant a great deal to the writer. It feels wrong to just rush past them. Who are these patriarchs?
Well, first you have Mahendra.
Mahendra?
This is often associated with the Eastern Ghats in modern geography. Then you have Malaya,
Malaya.
which is usually linked to the southern ranges.
Huh?
Then Saya,
Sai?
the Western Ghats. Then we have Shuktaman, Riksha, Vindhya, and finally Poriatra.
Mahendra, Malaya, Saha, Shuktiman, Riksha, Vindhya, Pariatra. It's quite a roll call.
It is. And remember, for Parashara, these aren't just obstacles to travel. They are the sources of the Veda Gosha, the sound of knowledge. The text implies the forests on these mountains are where wisdom is cultivated.
I see.
But here's where we have to pivot. Parashara isn't writing a travel brochure. He isn't telling us about the scenery so we could book a holiday.
Right. He's not reviewing the hiking trails.
No. He's setting the stage for what I like to call the climate of consequence.
The climate of consequence. That sounds ominous. What does that mean?
It means this is the only place where time acts as a forge. We're talking about the four yugas, Krita, Trita, Dvapara, and Kali. In other realms, time might flow, but it's essentially flat. It doesn't erode or evolve you the way it does here. Bharatavarsha is a contained ecosystem of cause and effect. It's a pressure cooker.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the geography, the mountains, the Navadvipa, the Himavat is basically the casing of the engine.
That is a perfect analogy. The land is the casing. The engine inside is karma.
Which brings us to the part of the source material that I found genuinely difficult to get my head around at first, the paradox. You mentioned earlier that the gods, beings living in the celestial realms, envy the humans living in Bharatavarsha.
Parashara completely inverts the hierarchy we're used to.
It just seems so counterintuitive. I mean, in almost every mythology I've ever read, humans want to be gods. We want the immortality, the ambrosia. We want to live on the clouds and not have to worry about back pain or taxes or that. But here, Parashara is saying the gods are looking down at us, dealing with all our mess and saying, I wish I were them. Why?
It comes down to the physics of karma. And to understand this, you have to understand the fundamental difference between consumption and creation.
Okay, break that down for us. Consumption versus creation.
Let's look at heaven, or swarga, as described in the text. We tend to think of heaven as a permanent state of bliss. But in the Purana, heaven is not a permanent residence. It's a luxury hotel.
A hotel.
A very expensive, all-inclusive resort. You go there to spend the merit or punya you've earned during your life on earth.
So it's like a rewards program. You save up your points and then you go on holiday.
Exactly that. Imagine you've saved up 1 million frequent flyer miles. You go to this incredible resort. You're treated like royalty. The food is perfect. The weather is perfect. But, and this is the absolute key, you cannot earn more miles while you're at the resort.
Oh.
You are strictly a consumer.
I see where this is going.
Every day you stay there, your balance goes down. It is a stagnant state of spending spiritual currency. You can't generate new merit in heaven because there's no resistance. There's no suffering, no choice, no difficulty. And without difficulty, there is no moral action.
That is actually quite terrifying when you think about it. It's a ticking clock. You're sitting in paradise, eating your grapes, but you know that every grape costs you a point and eventually you'll hit 0.
And when you hit 0, you're evicted. You fall back down.
Yeah.
The underworld, or patala, is similar, just on the other end of the spectrum. It's a place of boga of experience, but no progress. You're stuck in a loop. You can't write the future.
And that brings us back to the mud and the noise of Bharatavarsha.
Yes. Bharatavarsha is defined as Karma-Bhumi.
Karma-Bhumi.
The land of action. This is the factory floor. This is the artist's studio. This is the only zone in the cosmos where a being can actually change their status.
So let me get this straight. Heaven is where you retire to spend your savings until you go broke. But Earth, specifically Bharatavarsha, is where you have a job.
It's where you have a business. It's where you have equity. Parashar explains that on this soil, even a small good deed, a moment of charity, resisting a temptation, it goes directly to the ledger. It generates new capital.
Wow.
Evolution, moving from a human to a god, or achieving the ultimate goal, mukti, liberation, happens only here.
That completely changes how you look at struggle, doesn't it? I mean, think about the person listening to this right now. Maybe they're stuck in traffic. Maybe they're dealing with a difficult boss. Maybe they're just exhausted. It's so easy to think, why is this happening to me? I just want peace.
Precisely. We crave the vacuum. We crave the silence. But Parashar is saying, no, don't wish for the vacuum. The friction is the point.
Right.
If you were in heaven, you wouldn't have that difficult boss.
Yeah.
But you also wouldn't have the opportunity to practice patience. You wouldn't have the chance to decide not to lose your temper.
The difficult boss is the raw material.
The difficult boss, the traffic, the heartbreak, these are the clay. You use them to create karma. This land is designed for change, not for stagnation. If everything were perfect, you would be spiritually unemployed.
Spiritually unemployed. I love that. It's like the gods are the trust fund kids who have everything but can't actually do anything, and we're the ones in the garage building the next big thing.
That is a very apt analogy. The gods are spectators. They are watching the game from the VIP box. They have the best seats, the best food, but they cannot influence the score. We are on the field. We're getting muddy. We're getting tackled. We are bleeding. But we are the only ones moving the ball.
And that is why they envy us, because they are stuck in a rerun and we are live.
We are live. And that brings us to the mirror moment regarding agency.
Right. I want to pivot to this because it feels incredibly modern, despite the text being ancient. We talk a lot these days about ownership and accountability. It's become a bit of a buzzword in the corporate world.
It has.
But this text seems to be taking it to a metaphysical extreme.
It is the ultimate form of accountability. I mean, think about how we usually operate. In the modern world, we love to outsource blame. I'm not happy because of the economy. I didn't get that promotion because the system is rigged. I'm unlucky. We treat life like it's something happening to us.
Like we're passengers in a car driven by fate.
Exactly. I'm just along for the ride. But the philosophy of Karma-Bhumi says, absolute rubbish. You are not a passenger. If you are standing on this soil, north of the ocean and south of the snow, you are the owner. The text suggests the remote control is firmly in your hand.
This brings up that startup metaphor we touched on in our pre-show notes. I think this is such a powerful way to reframe it for the modern listener.
It really is. Think of your life in Bharatavarsha not as a job you hate, but as a high-stakes startup you founded. You aren't an employee of Fate Incorporated. You are the founder.
And as a founder, you don't get to complain about the market conditions, do you?
No. A founder doesn't say, oh, the market is tough. I guess I'll just give up. A founder says the market is tough. How do I pivot? What is my strategy? How do I create value out of this crisis?
Right.
The Karma-Bhumi philosophy is the ultimate entrepreneurial mindset. The difficulties you face are not problems to be avoided. They are market conditions to be navigated.
That is a massive shift in perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, what can I create with this?
How do I capitalize on this? And I don't mean that in a financial sense, but in a spiritual sense.
Yeah.
How do I turn this suffering into wisdom? How do I turn this anger into action?
It's empowering, certainly, but I have to play devil's advocate for a second. It's also a lot of pressure. If I'm the founder, if I'm the author, then if things go wrong, it's all on me. There's no one else to blame.
It is a tremendous amount of pressure.
Yeah.
But that is the price of freedom. Kershaw's point is that this pressure is a privilege. It's a gift that even the immortals crave. To be able to say, I can be different tomorrow than I am today.
That's powerful.
That is a power unique to this human experience. The gods are locked in their static perfection. They are who they are forever until their credit runs out. You can change.
You know, it makes me think about how often we wait for the right time to do things. I'll start that project when the kids are older. I'll meditate when work slows down. But if we follow this logic, the calm time is actually the least useful time.
Spot on. The perfect time is a myth of the heavens. The right time is always now, in the heat of action. This land demands participation. You can't sit on the sidelines in Bharatavarsha, or rather you can, but you are wasting the param sovhagya.
The ultimate luck.
The ultimate stroke of luck of being here.
It's strange to think of being human with all our frailties as lucky.
It is the luck of the artist who has been given a block of marble and a chisel. It's hard work. It's messy. But it's the only way a statue gets made.
So if you're feeling stuck, or if you're feeling like the world is against you, just remember, you're in the only place in the cosmos where you can actually fix it. You're in the workshop. You've got the chisel.
And remember that the chips flying off the marble, the pain, the effort, that is just proof that the work is happening.
This has been heavy, but in the best possible way. It really recontextualizes the ground we walk on. It's not just dirt and asphalt. It's potential energy.
It is the stage for the greatest drama in the universe, the evolution of your own consciousness.
Before we wrap up, I want to speak directly to you, the listener, for a moment. We've talked about geography. We've talked about mountains with names like Mahendra and Malaya and the jealousy of gods. But at the core of this is a sense of heritage. And I don't mean that in a nationalistic way, but in a human way.
Indeed. It's a spiritual heritage.
If this deep dive into the significance of the land has sparked a sense of pride or responsibility in you, if you feel a little taller standing on this Karma-Bhumi, then honor that. Don't let this knowledge just evaporate when you take your headphones off.
Absolutely. Knowledge that isn't used is just another form of stagnation. Becomes just another luxury hotel in your mind. Something you enjoyed for a moment but didn't profit from.
So, here's your specific instruction for the day. If you found value in this, please like, follow, and subscribe to the show. It helps us keep these deep dives going. But more importantly, share this with at least one friend. Just one person who needs to hear that they are the founder of their own life, not just a passenger. Keep the knowledge flowing.
It's a small act of karma in itself, isn't it? Sharing wisdom.
Exactly. Earning those spiritual frequent flyer miles right now.
Indeed. But before we go, we have understood the space. We've mapped Bharatavarsha. We know the container. But space is only half the equation.
Ah, here comes the teaser. I can see you checking your notes. You always have one more card to play.
The source material has another layer that is just as critical. We know where we are. But when are we? The Vishnu Purana mentions that time moves differently here. It speaks of a pulse that ranges from the blink of an eye, a nimesha, to a cosmic age, a kalpa.
From a blink to an age, that is a massive scale.
It is. And it turns out, just as the land is designed for action, the time here is designed for, well, let's just say it's a countdown. But a countdown to what? And how do we read the clock?
Okay, now I'm hooked. I need to know about the clock.
Join us next time as we decode the pulse of the universe. We'll be discussing the pulse of time, from nimesha to kalpa. You won't want to miss it.
I certainly won't. Thank you for diving deep with us today. Go out there, grab your chisel, and create some good karma.
Goodbye, and travel well.